The war in Kargil, since now it's a past war, we can easily define what happened. But the war which is impending, there is lot which the government has to decide, and I am nobody at this juncture to say how it will be fought. But I can only give you how it should be fought. Firstly, the Kargil war, if you remember, we had a very limited objective. We had a defined objective. The war was, the aim of the war was very easy to define. It was very difficult to fight. It was very, very difficult to get to the objective, but the objective was known. The war was fought on our territory. The enemy had come and captured our territory. We had to take the territory back. So it was a war which was limited to that particular area, and we never opened up the war beyond Kargil. So the objective was very well defined, the aim was very clear, and the forces were mustered to do that. It was difficult terrain and very difficult terrain and very intensive war where we suffered intensive casualties, high rate of casualties. So that was the war, Kargil war. But it was a war of ultimate bravery by the units. It was fought at unit level. Our units fought it. I mean, there was no strategic move, there was no strategic maneuvering, there was no, I would say, grand strategy. If we have to now fight a war, the aim of the war would be what? We have to think of it. No, the objective of the war. The aim of the war is to bring Pakistan to a situation, to a negotiating table where it is on our terms and conditions, and either Pakistan completely agrees to eliminate the terrorism from its own territory and eliminate all support of terrorism which is providing to us, and also to resolve the J&K issue once for all. If the objective is like that, then probably I am of the opinion that war cannot be limited to POK. Why should India go to POK? Why should it suffer more casualties? It's difficult terrain, he's prepared, we are face to face, he's also ready, we are also ready. Why should we suffer casualty? We have massive superiority over Pakistan in terms of air power, in terms of naval power, in terms of mechanized power. We have these forces which are much more superior and where we have much more quick results. Quick results, when I say, does not mean that the result is ready, but when we draw him to battle, we not only inflict casualties on him, but we will inflict heavy economic casualties on him, because he would have to mobilize his forces, he will have to use his mechanized forces, mobilization, his air power if he mobilizes whatever limited navy he has got, he is going to incur heavy expenditure in terms of economy. No? So the war, next war, and this war, and India must fight, because you see, in last 30 years, he had not come to negotiating table. The Kargil war doesn't lead him to negotiating table. He never came there for any negotiation. He never made any concession. He had captured our territory. We threw him back. We captured our territory. In this case, the war will be fought on our terms and conditions. The war will be fought on the terrain of Pakistan. The war will, if we fight a war, the war will be against his strategic strength, against his strategic, objectives, against his strategic power so the war, next war will be very, very intense war. It will be across the front if India has to fight. If India has to avoid casualties, own casualties, then it has to fight across the frontier, draw him closer to the IB, hit his strategic objective which are in the close proximity, whether it is township, whether it is there, whatever it is there, I don't want to name them. So the war, next war, if at all, and which India must, if at all, though I'm using because I'm not the decision maker, but India must, because there is no other way. Otherwise, our generations have suffered. 3 generations have suffered over last 70 years in the name of, Pakistan saying it is 2 nation and J&K's unfinished agenda. What I'm saying is this agenda must finish on our terms and conditions, and we must take POK. If we go to war, we will suffer. We will also suffer economically. We will also have some casualty, but we can withstand that. And in the next war, we must diminish his military power. Remember, in Kargil, we did not diminish his military power. His aircraft remained intact, his mechanized forces remained intact, his artillery, bulk of artillery remained intact. We only captured and demolished, threw him away from our territory, killed his people. We need to destroy his military power, his mechanized forces, his air forces, his naval capability. When we do that, then the next war will be different, and probably there will be a long time, like the Second World War ended and Europe did not have major war for long time. That sort of a result we got to achieve, which results into his military leadership being overthrown by its political leadership, and its political leadership sees the day of the light and comes to a negotiating table and agrees to the terms and conditions which India wants. So the next war, if we fight, will be much different than, it should be different than Kargil. It should not be limited. It should not be limited to an area. It should not be area-centric. It should be broad-centric in drawing his major military power and destroying the military power.